Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Forefathers, the Dad's Blueprint. I am Akeem Bennett. This is
Derek Bell.
and we are here to help educate and lead our fathers and everyone in our audience out there as we build the blueprint for the perfect dad. What does that look like? We don't know. But after you listen to a couple episodes of this, maybe we can start to put things into order. So, Derek, man, how you been, man?
I've been doing pretty good. Can't complain. Wrapping up February. This month is flying by.
It is. Shout out to my friend Gloria Darling. She just
Taste of
finished
gold.
her third year of Tallapalooza. It's a talent show that's thrown right here in Tallahassee. And she just had her third year of it. And I'm just very proud of her. So shout out to you, Gloria.
I heard Bobby won some.
He did,
Uh-huh.
man. He did. Our friend Bobby was in there. He
Bobby
won for
Blackman.
spoken word and for singing. So, and it was close. It was close. Like the votes for singing, the way we did it is we let the audience be the judges,
Nice.
and we averaged out the scores.
Nice.
2.8%.
Wow.
That's how close it was. You want to talk about a close shave? 2.8%. I was like, wow. Wow. But it was awesome. It was so much fun. Um, but yes, it's February is flying by. I don't know whether it's because it's the shortest month, whether it's because it's Black History Month, or whether we just be busy.
Right.
But I do want to give a shout out. Hey, last week I was showing up Florida A&M. We got to do that Florida State. Shout out to them Seminoles, baby. Shout out to them Seminoles.
Oh knows.
Definitely going to be out watching the Savannah Bananas. We got tickets to go to them. If you don't know who they are, just YouTube it. It's just a fun environment. Taking the sun, letting him soak it all in. And just to give you an idea, they're playing baseball in a football stadium.
Mm.
It's a wild time. So yeah,
Sounds like it.
February, man, we got a lot going on in February, but today's episode, we want to talk about marriage. Yes, marriage. Preparing for partnership. That's what we're going to be dealing with today. When should you get married? When should you decide that you want to be exclusive with a woman? And yes, dads, I get it. It's for fathers. But we want to help you build up to that point. And it's not just about what happens after the kids come, but what happens before the kids come. Uh, Derek, have you been married before?
Never.
Never been married. And I've been married once, still married to her. Or rather, I guess she's still married to me. However you want to look at that. We're coming up on 10 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a long road for us, a long road for us. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, Derek, is I see a lot of people that, how should I say this? They don't know how to be alone and they rush into marriage. Where I'm at that age now where everyone around me is getting married or being told they need to hurry up and get married because they ain't getting no younger. So, I don't mean to put you on the spot and get in your business, Derek, but what is the thing that has kept you single? Like you a wise man, a smart man. You work out. You got a good job. You're easy on the eyes, man. I listen. I let you know. Derek would have came to me and like, hey, man, I want to do a video podcast. Derek, you ain't got the face for that. We need to be behind the screen. I let you know. So Derek, why is it that you have not pursued marriage, finding that forever partner yet?
Well, to be honest, hmm, I have had some role models that were married. Like I had uncles and people in my life who were married. Like I said, my pops passed when I was 7, so I never really saw that daily reminder of a couple together.
Mm.
My formative years, my mother was single a lot. She
Because she
re-
was working. She
she
had
had
about 12 of them jobs.
she remarried when I joined the military. So as a young man, it just was not something that I was given a really good image about.
Mhm.
You know, I saw a lot of domestic violence. I saw a lot of, things I was witnessing that just did not give me a warm, fuzzy feeling about a man and a woman, being married. So when I got older, I knew I wanted to be a husband. I wanted to have a family, but I didn't have the structure or the mental, understanding of how to put it together.
Mm,
So I ended up having children without having a wife, and once I repeated that cycle, I became financially challenged to the point where I could barely take care of myself,
mm,
let alone. And I mean, I've always been kind of old fashioned, so it was important for me. Like I'm the king of my castle.
yeah.
Like I felt I was alpha male. I'm not going. I'm a, run my households. But
Mm.
when you're financially challenged,
A little hard
a
to do
lot
that.
of your confidence and a lot of your a lot of your confidence and self esteem is tied into your finances as a man. And so I told myself, at one point I had so much child support, I was like, you know what? I'll just get married later. I had a girlfriend once, she was like, how do you survive? Because she saw my child support. I mean, I could have been married. I've had people,
What you should have told her is, how do I survive? That's it. I'm surviving.
I've had people offer, like to
Surviving.
help me with my child support and like, let's get married, but I just did not want it that way because I
Mm.
know how I'm built, and so I said, if I can't really, be the man and I didn't want to, subjugate my manhood because of my finances.
I got you.
I didn't want to, have a lower standards of what, and then, but I was immature. I didn't have the guidance to like, hey, sometimes you get with the right woman and she can help you and then you carry her when it's time for you, like it's
And
teamwork.
help don't necessarily mean that I'm just gonna pay your bills.
But that was
I
where,
can help you figure out a way
right,
that you can actually do
help you
this.
matriculate. That's where ego and pride comes. I
Mm.
had this one girlfriend and she was like, I had like three kids. I was paying like over like 1,500 a month child support. She was like, move in with me and just give me $300 a month until you finish your school, your education. And I was like, and she gonna tell me what I gotta, like I'm thinking to myself, you ain't gonna be telling me how to come and go, So
Hmm.
my point is that I've had good women I've dated that I was the issue. So once I went to therapy and started kind of like trying to like unwire all of these, connections that were just keeping me from connecting with somebody and something committed,
Mm.
I started to see, okay, well, I can see myself being married now. But for a long time, I was like, I just was clueless. I didn't have the mental bandwidth or the understanding, And so,
And therapy was a big part
oh yeah,
of
oh yeah,
why
oh
you
yeah,
were able
oh yeah,
to overcome that.
oh yeah.
And now it's just,
Now it's like
when it's time for it to happen, it's gonna happen.
yeah, I'm not even. It's gonna happen. I ain't even worried no more. Like I know I'm
Mm.
gonna be a great husband, So it's just a matter of me, it's a matter of everything connecting, timing, the right person. I've had a few. I've dated. You know what I'm saying? I've dated. But like I said, I'm gonna. I know and then spiritually speaking, I think that I'm a good man, but I can't be a great man without a woman because there's things I need as a man only a woman can provide.
Understood.
That's scripture. So I feel like to be the best husband, father, person I can be, I need that rib. So I think it's now looking back on it,
Mm.
I try to tell young people, I tell my sons, I said, if you wouldn't have a baby with her, don't have sex with her. If you wouldn't marry her, don't have a baby with her. So I try to give them the wisdom I didn't have, so that way they can make better decisions and have better family planning. So when it's time to be a husband, you don't have all this baggage of the world
Hmm.
talking you out of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I got married at 26.
Good stuff, man.
26. And I mean, it sounds it sounds like I was really young, but by that point, me and my wife had been dating for like 5 years, 5 or 6 years. We had been living with each other for like 3 or 4 years. So it's not like we were brand new to one another.
Right.
We did get to know one another. And I think that's a big point to bring out. One thing that I echo with you is if you don't want have no children, you need to plan. Be smart about that. And we
Right.
were smart about it. So that way it would not become a pressure for I must marry her now because she has a child.
Right.
She must marry me now because otherwise I might go away and her kid never have a dad. Like we want to have to come across that bridge. So just take the precautions so that you don't have to. Um, Now, Derek, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I ain't go to therapy to figure out what I needed to do to be a husband. My guiding star is something that y'all should know by now. I'm not quite wrapped too tight. I'm a little bit different than the rest. Derek, you've known me for some time. I think a little bit differently. I chose my wife because I knew that one, I would give my life for her at any moment, and two, I would never actually kill her. I think those are important things.
Yeah.
If I will give my life for her, that means I would do anything in this world to make sure that she has what she needs. If I won't kill her, that means no matter how bad it gets,
Right.
and there were some times, Derek, ooh, there were some times, but no matter how bad it gets, I know for a fact I'm
Right.
going to do what I can to make it work because I
Right.
want her there.
Right.
It took some time to get to that point. Like I said, we dated for 4 years,
Right.
or 6 years. I don't know, 4 to 6 years. We're doing some ranges out here in case you checking the pod, baby. I
Right.
love you. I know what time. I know, yeah, yeah, huh. But 4 to 6 years before we actually got married, and we dated. We were only engaged for a year,
Right.
so I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision. I see two different sides, especially amongst my generation.
Right.
There's one side of us, fellas, where we never want to get married. We never want to get married. And it's much to what you were saying. You seeing your grandma and grandpa in these abusive relationships because they just had to, you know, see it through no matter how bad things got, or you're seeing that your mom, your dad have a split household, divorce rates are through the roof. There's just not a lot encouraging you to get married,
Right.
you know? But then there's the flip side of it. And I got some of these out there too, some of these friends, where they meet somebody and within 8 months, they telling us we get married next year. I know good and well y'all don't know each other. Y'all ain't had enough. Like, there is something to the fact of, as a man, moving into a living space with a woman, no matter
Yeah.
whose home you're going to, there are certain things you're not prepared for.
Right.
The amount of toilet paper that you're going to need has just tripled. Tripled. I don't care whether you buy that super mega duper XL roll that looked
Not
like you took
triple.
it
Not
out the
triple.
wall. Look, it's gonna triple. And you're not even gonna realize it. You're just gonna be like, didn't I just buy toilet paper last month? Because you know how we do. We go to Costco, you got the 30 pack. That 30 pack gonna last you all year, fellas. Man, I be going, I get the 30 pack, I put it up. By the time I split it between the two bathrooms, it's time for me to buy some more. You don't know what it's like when you go into the bathroom and you're used to, a little bit of stubble here and there, but now you got just long weave just there, long hair just everywhere.
Everywhere.
It don't matter whether it's weave or
Shower.
natural. There's certain things that we are, as men, are not prepared for. And you got to think about these things before you jump into oh my gosh, I love you, let's get married, boom, boom. So let me get your advice on this, Derek.
Yeah.
Now, I know you ain't been married before, but you've been in
Oh yeah.
relationships.
I've lived with women before. So
So let me ask you, man, when you get out of a relationship with a woman or whoever your partner might be, when you get out of a relationship, I don't care what it is, we can be with a dog for all I care. When you get out of a relationship, Derek, how long should you wait? What steps should you take before pursuing another partner?
well, I would say this much, like before I kind of was like, on my healing journey,
Mhm.
I had the adage, like the best way to get over somebody is somebody else,
Oh,
but
Daddy
But
used to
that
say the
was
best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody
but
else.
that was very unhealthy. Now that I date from a healthy perspective, I feel that
Hmm.
everybody's different. So you have to know whatever damage you went through with a person, you have to know when you have healed from it and you're able to move on.
Hmm.
Because somebody might go through something and it affects them totally different than somebody else. So when you're balanced out, when you're at peace again and you're trusting again
Hmm.
and you're at the point where you're ready to give somebody grace to be in your life. So if you don't have that, you still kind of have issues with trust and issues with you got to keep on working on yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, if you jump in it without doing that, that increases your chances of it not being successful. I mean, hey, look, it's going to do what it's going to do. You take the time and heal correctly, increase your chances of being successful. If you don't, increase the chances of being not successful. So it's up to the
Mm.
person involved. I mean, for me personally, I definitely would not jump in. I don't jump in anything for one because I'm a father, and it matters to me that my children don't see me hopping from woman to woman.
Absolutely.
So
Cause they
I don't
notice.
I don't jump into something like that. But I mean, and also, I'm in an age now where my patience is not the same.
Mm.
So I think as a man, especially a man who wants to be intentional, you gotta, as you being the lead or the head, you gotta be the healthiest person in the situation.
At least from your
From
perspective.
I mean,
You can't
if
help,
you
you can't change them, but
if she's
you can
healthier than
affect
you,
yourself.
if she's healthier than you, she's probably not gonna want to trust you or follow you because she's gonna see things in your armor that's cracked and
Oh,
broken.
absolutely.
So I think doing the work, whether it's therapy, whether it's spirituality, whatever it takes to get you back where you can trust and you have peace and you're ready to give somebody grace, which is what I find every partnership is about, really about grace.
Hmm.
You're not ready to do that, then you're not ready to be committed to somebody. So I focus on, like, personally, I focus on giving people grace and looking at it from a spiritual perspective, like how can I improve this person, you know, with them? How can I add to them? I don't, if I can't, I tell women I dated, if you date me and your life don't get better, then I'm not the one for you.
Ooh,
Like if you're
that's
dating me
that's
and,
a
and
bar.
if you're dating me and things are not getting better for you, then we're not a good match.
Because you should be making me better. I should be making you better.
We should both
How
be,
how
yeah,
fabulous is it? Fabulous and Neo that had that song. You make me better. Like, yeah,
that's
exactly,
real. That's
exactly.
real.
I think for me, how soon you got to give it at least 90 days.
Yeah,
I don't put a time frame necessarily on when you can do it, but I know you can't do nothing within that first 90 days.
yeah,
You ain't gave yourself time to grieve.
right, right,
And like I got a homeboy, Lord have mercy, Derek. Uh, he was getting out of a relationship. And when I say relationship, he was married and now he about to get married again.
mm,
It is a pretty quick turnaround. It's a pretty quick turnaround. And I have to ask myself, like, does he even know who he is? Because I think a lot of times when we're trying to get into another partnership because that's what we know.
right, right,
That's why I'm like, you got to give yourself 90 days to remember who you are. Because
right.
who I am right now is I'm a king. I'm my son's father,
That's right,
but I'm my wife's husband. I don't know who Akeem is that's not a husband anymore.
right,
That's that's something that has to be relearned if I'm no
right,
longer a
right,
husband. And it's not even about just a husband. This is any relationship. When you have become someone's partner, when you have poured into them and have taken them into you, you cannot be the same person or you were never in a true partnership. You were
right.
never in a true relationship. Uh, and it's I get it. Love at first sight, 90-day fiance. I know that stuff out there, but let's be real.
Yeah,
Do you really know what you getting into? Are you prepared
right.
for what you getting
What do you
into.
think about like what's your opinion on like living with someone before you get married?
Okay, so I grew up in the church,
Right.
and the church forbade it. I ain't gonna say forbade. All right, go look it up. I might not be using it right. Don't care. Uh, it was just one of those things where you're just not supposed to do it. But two things changed that. The first was I refuse. I refuse to say I'm going to marry you, and the first time I spend the night with you in your house is after I've just signed a lifelong contract
Right.
with you. I don't know whether you snore. I don't know what your morning breath smell like. Like you, bro, there's
Yeah.
my wife literally would not pass gas around me when we first
Wow.
got together. She would go into the bathroom. I was just like, dude, I don't even know when she used the bathroom. And now it's like, bro, close the door. Why is the door open? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a totally different thing. So personally, I see no situation where I would ever tell someone to marry and get into a long-term partnership relationship with somebody if you have not lived with them, because you don't know who they are. I'm
Right.
a firm believer that during COVID, they said during COVID, the number of divorces like doubled or maybe even tripled during COVID. Want to know why? Because people was together too much.
Yeah.
We ain't meant to be together forever. Your grandparents and great grandparents could do it because they did not have cell phones. They didn't have Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and all of that. They didn't even have email.
Right.
He leave at 5 in the morning. He come back at 6 at night. They had 12 hours where they did not need to know each other. So that's number one. I just can't see myself committing to somebody I just don't know. And then the second part of that is I think it's important to understand the mindset of an individual. We can talk all day, but until I live with you and see
Your decision
your
making.
like, what do you okay, you're saying that the electric bill's too high, but every light is on in the house. You are a poor decision maker, is what I'm hearing. Uh you sitting here and okay, cool, you got a fancy car, you going on trips, but then when I go in your house, the light bulb missing. You got the three lights fixture up there, you ain't got but one light bulb.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the or oh, you find out that they messy or worse, that they're dirty. Because messy and dirty ain't the same. Messy, you just got stuff all over the place. Dirty, bruh,
See, I'm ex-military, so I got PTSD. So I'm like, like I have to give women grace because
it
I
ain't gonna
think
be
I'm
up to
I
your
think I'm still
standard.
in boot camp, but I
Hey,
get
hey,
it. I mean,
Derek make the bed in the morning. He flip it
every
back, get
morning,
that quarter. Poop
every
poop.
morning,
All right, sheets tight enough.
yeah, I agree with you on that though.
But yeah,
I think personally, I find that before I've lived with women before, and it never got me a, a, to be a husband. And I've dated.
mhm.
I can count the last decade, like 4 or 5 women I've dated that got married, and they're still married. So I know the problem was me. So I feel like the last like on my journey,
Mhm.
spiritually, like the closer I get to like God's way, I don't think I'm gonna shack up with somebody else.
But see, but to that point though,
Right.
you've been through the
I've been
process.
through it. Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's not something foreign to you.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think for me, shacking up is not going to work.
No. And you're also at that kind of point in life where you got your stuff together. The younger that you are,
Yeah.
you got to shack up to afford the mortgage, to afford the mortgage. What am I tripping on? To afford rent.
Right.
They got in my neighborhood, there's a 3-2 house. 3-2 house. This is on about
Right.
acre, a little less than that. Uh, $2,200 a month for rent.
Right.
Ain't nobody can afford that. Who can afford that?
Right.
I got a friend. She in a 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment. I went to drop something off over there. There was a dirty diaper outside in the parking lot. $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
You got to shack up. It ain't even shacking. It's just having a roommate at this
Yeah.
point
Pretty
because
much.
you can't afford it. So but at the same time, my wife's mom, who shout out to my mom-in-law, you know, she used to tell my wife all the time, why pay for the cow if you already getting the
Get the
milk?
milk. Right, right,
And I used to tell her, moo moo, because guess who got married? But
right.
I now have to leave it alone because my wife be like, stop picking on my moms. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a
My my
big thing to think about.
my oldest daughter, she she's been married now 4 years. So like when I see my daughter got married, I'm like, you know what, like that motivated me to kind of get keep on working on myself. Like as a head of the family, I want to be the example.
So let me get this straight. What you're saying is when you're trying to prepare for partnership,
Right.
you must first prepare yourself. So that way, when you get into this partnership,
Yeah.
you're bringing the best version of yourself into it and you're ready to be successful.
Right. I feel like holistically speaking,
Mm.
you have to work on yourself and pick somebody who's doing the same thing. You can't be accountable for all their feelings, all their like you only can account for yourself. But if you're the best you can be and they're the best
Hmm.
they can be, I think you have a great chance of being successful.
Yeah, because you're gonna help each other, but who is it? Cat Williams said it's
Yeah.
called self-esteem.
And you got to have grace. You got to, like one thing I learned the last couple of years,
Years
like
like
even me
me
dating,
dating.
is like, I don't nitpick anymore because I can always find something. Me, Derek Bell, I can find a reason to break up with somebody. I can find a reason, something wrong with somebody. So, so I just give more grace. It's like
Mhm.
I give the grace that I want. It's like when I'm dating somebody, I try to give them the same grace that I want. They got to hear me snoring and, my CPAP machine and, you know what I mean? And, and I'm eating the cookies at night. You know what I'm saying? So there's things about me that I'm kind of raggedy about. You know what I mean? So I can't go around here and
We all
be
got
so
faults.
critical of people
We all got
when I'm trying to
faults.
build something. Otherwise, I got an uncle got married. His first marriage at 77, 78. And I was like, nah. Hey, I mean, I God bless him, but I'm like, that was an example. That was a sign for me. Like, look, don't be that guy who just waited forever. And then, I feel like now we have so much competition with each other.
It
It's like,
is.
it's like like there's so much competition. Like, it should be a collaboration.
I
You
agree.
know?
I agree. Everyone has to be the top dog.
Right, right,
The
right,
top dog. And I think a lot of it is because you have the surgence of independence among women.
right,
Women are more comfortable. Like it's not like they haven't been independent, but they're more
right,
comfortable being vocal,
right,
being breadwinners, being successful.
right.
They don't necessarily need us like they you like men. Women
Not
used to need
financially.
men to survive financially. Now you don't need them. So it's this courtship trying to figure out. And like you said, you really, if you're going to try to pursue a partnership with somebody, whatever that might look like, make sure that both of you are mentally prepared for it.
That's right.
Both of you are emotionally prepared for it. Both of you are financially prepared for it. Because there ain't nothing worse than loving somebody and then the both of y'all just broke. Because you want to know what that's going to do? That's going to drive a wedge right between you. And what is it? Like 80% of most marital problems deal with
Yeah,
money of some sort. Because guess what? If you had money, you wouldn't have half your problems wouldn't be problems.
right,
You ain't stressed about the light bill when the money there.
right.
You ain't stressed about where we going to eat when the money there.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it plays a big part in that. So before you enter into a partnership with somebody, before you decide you want to get married to somebody, especially after you just left something,
That's right.
take your time.
Take your time.
Take your time, Pastor. Take your time. Get yourself right. Prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah.
If you aren't prepared, it ain't gonna work. You trying to build a foundation together. If you only half of the foundation, if you half of the foundation and you got cracks, that house ain't going.
Right.
That ain't gonna stand.
And if you don't work on what happened to in the last relationship,
Oh,
make
amen.
the same mistakes over again.
Amen.
You everything you deal with, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. But if you don't take heed of the lesson,
Hmm.
you'll repeat it with the next person. Like you could be paying for something from some joker from 20 years ago if the person hasn't
Hmm.
healed from that. So you kind of have to make sure they done the work. Like if you meet somebody and they like, okay, I'm single. Like how long you been single? Like 3 months. Like how long so you got to see where they are. Like they've been
Hmm.
single 3 years. That's different than 3 months.
Absolutely.
So you gotta make sure that they've done the work and also yourself. So you kind of owe it to yourself if you want something decent.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
absolutely. And listen, man, don't be in a rush to get married. Just calm it down. Tone it down. Take your time, date, get yourself right so that you can find the right person for you. And you can be the right person for them.
right.
Cause
And then
man,
and then on the flip side, if you have children involved,
oh,
you showing them unhealthy practices of how to navigate relationships, So you got to make, if not for yourself, date for your kids, date healthy for your children, because you're gonna whatever bad habits you have, they're watching everything you do.
hmm.
So
And what you call a bad habit, they just
yeah,
know is the habit. They don't know that it's bad or good. They just know that's what I'm supposed to do.
right.
And until they try it and it don't work, then they say, "Oh crap, Daddy was tripping."
Yeah,
Yes.
there was things I did, that I'm sure my children can write a book, when I was younger and not really, making the best choices, in dating,
Like the lessons of Derek
So,
Bell.
but I was honest with him and we talked,
Yeah.
what I mean, and they all in a good space emotionally
Hmm.
because I always, was open with them, and I always shared with them, you know, this should have been this way, but you can do it better. Like next time I'll do it this way. So I try to be honest with them and not really be phony because I knew they were watching me anyway.
Yeah. You saw
So
what's
I
going
made
on.
sure that I was around quality people and I made sure I kept them in safe environments, So there was things I did even when I was not making great decisions to protect them so they wouldn't have so much trauma and damage as I did.
And again, remember, this is about preparing to be into a partnership. We ain't talking about what happened after you get married. That's another episode. That's a whole and when you get into a partnership, that's a whole nother episode. But this right here is what do you need to do to prepare yourself to be in a partnership long term with somebody, whether that's a committed relationship, a marriage, a job. I don't really care what it is. Take your time
Right.
and get yourself
Together.
right. Derek, it's time to get up out of here, man. You got any
Okay.
shout outs to the people?
Nope. I just like the man said before, two different perspectives. We don't have all the answers, but we can help you find them.
Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes you don't need to have the answer. You need to know who does have the answer. So check us out in the show notes. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. You can shoot us an email. Let us know what your thoughts on the situation. When are you ready to get into a partnership? Whether you've never been in one or if you just got out of one, what type of skills do you look for in a man that you're pursuing, or what type of skills do you look for in yourself when you're trying to pursue someone as a man? Leave us some notes. Let us know. I already locked my cow down, as they say. I ain't worried about that. Call me Farmer Bennett, baby. That's what we do around here. But for the rest of you out there, we're here to help you. We're here to support you. And worst case scenario, get a therapist. Let it help you out. Go back a couple of episodes and listen to our episode. What was it? Doing the inner work.
Doing that in the work.
Doing the inner work. Listen to it. Get you some help. Make sure that you're ready before you just go out there. Prepare yourself for a partnership. Uh, Anything else you got for the good of the people, Derek?
Good. Nope.
All right, y'all. Well, listen, this has been another episode of Forefathers, the Dad's Blueprint, preparing for partnership. We'll holla at y'all next time. Go Noles, baby. Forefathers, the Dad Blueprint is brought to you by Lift One Inc. Follow, subscribe, and share Forefathers, the Dad Blueprint on YouTube at Lift One Forefathers or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Questions or comments? Email the podcast at liftoneforfathers@gmail.com. For more information on Lift One events, visit lift11.com. lift.com. That's lift, the number one, ONE.com.